Fantasy Philosophers is brought to you by fantasy-info.com.
It seems like the Cowboys defense can't go through the early part of the season starting out slow. But as they move on through the season, they get, especially in that middle part of the season, they get into around November. They're a pretty strong defense. Last year, they even picked it up. They were, at times, it seemed like they were lights out in December. They just were getting stronger and stronger. I was surprised, actually, in the playoffs that they gave up to the Minnesota Vikings as bad as they caved in, as bad as they did, because, boy, that defense was really peaking well, even going into the playoffs the first week that they played the Eagles. Still, this defense, they have a lot of talent. They've got a good secondary. They've still got DeMarcus Ware in his prime, so that's always, for sacks and turnover possibilities, that's always a good sign when you've got DeMarcus on your team. I am a little concerned about them straight up the gut, as Jay Ratliff has had surgery on both his elbows this offseason, so that's not a good sign for your nose tackle, especially an undersized nose tackle. He plays at about 300, 305. That's very small for a nose tackle. He tends to rotate, and he's a high motor guy, but if those elbows start giving him problems, obviously, you're going to be using those again and again as you're hitting the hammer against those offensive linemen all year long. And I'm also concerned about Keith Brookings. He's had some knee problems this offseason. I believe he's around 35 years old now, 34 years old. So he's not getting any younger, and playing in the middle interior on a 3-4 can really wear on you. Start to get to that age. Thankfully, the team did go out and get Sean Lee in the second round of the draft, an inside linebacker. They picked him up, so that's some good depth, some good talented depth there to help out, but I wouldn't expect a rookie second rounder to come in and perform at the level of a Keith Brookings, if anything, just because of all the understanding that Keith has. Remember, he used to play with Wade Phillips back in Atlanta, so and really Keith, some of his best years were with Wade back in Atlanta. So, he really knows the system well. He works well within it, and he's, very knowledgeable. So to have him out at any time would definitely hurt this team up the middle. Other than that, as long as they're healthy and they're rolling, I would suggest maybe have a second defense to go with it. This one, if they, again, they start a little slow in September, as they can. But as the season gets deeper, they should get stronger. They're a good, solid veteran defense. They're a defense and a team that should be probably winning their division this year if they're playing well. So get the Cowboys defense, and they should do well for you throughout the season.
For more fantasy football information, go to fantasy-info.com and sign up for our free e-newsletter. Good luck in your 2010 Fantasy Football League. As an added bonus, the Fantasy Info guys will include their 5 secret tips for success in fantasy